When history in the future is read regarding what's happening in Ukraine and what's happening in Palestine, I think it won't be possible to analyze one without the other. I think the framework in which these events are going to be analyzed is going to be the boomerang of empire. First, what's the Imperial Boomerang? It's a political theory that states that empires that create repressive tactics to control their colonies will eventually turn those tactics against their own people. This concept is also called Foucault's boomerang, but fun fact, the white French philosopher Michel Foucault didn't come up with this concept. It was the black French Caribbean philosopher Aimé Césaire that came up with the concept in the 1950s. He developed this concept by analyzing and observing the development of fascist regimes in Europe, based some of their laws of oppression and some of their most terrifying acts in acts that they had already practiced abroad. Look at Germany and Namibia, or the fact that the Nuremberg laws were based in the Jim Crow South in the United States, also a settler colonial entity. But how does this apply to the complex geopolitics that we are living nowadays? Israel is, as we know, a settler colonial outpost of the West in the Middle East. And one of its biggest industries is literally the exporting of the technologies that they developed with the support and the acquiescence of Western powers, following the historical strategies that countries like Portugal, countries like the United Kingdom, countries like France, countries like Germany, countries like the United States applied to the lands that they colonized. Snap to the Imperial Boomerang, Alio! I promise I will. One of the most fascinating things in history for me is its randomness. It is as random as it is fitting that European powers are having to deal with problems in Ukraine at the same time that the genocide in Gaza that they are fully supporting is occurring. Ukraine is a resource-rich nation that is trying to assert its independence in the face of the expanding imperial power that is Russia. But it is also a frontier between Western European countries and Russia. Russia has not hid its imperial ambitions. They will not stop with Ukraine. Taking into account that Europe, at this moment, is unable to defend itself from military aggression, Ukraine becomes a potential proxy of what their future can be. This is where the boomerang of empire comes in. By allowing and normalizing atrocity after atrocity in Gaza, in the process, shredding the framework both of international law, of the rules of warfare, and of annexation of territory, they opened the floodgates for this, and this, and this, things that they ignored when it happened in Palestine to become normalized, turning the mechanisms that existed against these things meaningless. Because the American empire is now proven unreliable, they're scared it will happen to them. It's coming home and it's not a football cup.